Okay, today we are discussing more of the Mississippians, and I'm going to dig into the three realms or the three worlds that make up their cosmology. And I think this is a really, really good, kind of important topic conversation because like yesterday, like if you missed it yesterday, shame on you. That's what I'm going to say right off the bat, right? Shame on you, okay? Because yesterday I introduced the concept of talking about the Mississippians, and I went relatively deep into their creation myths, right? So I felt really good about digging into those creation myths of the Mississippians, right? So I did that. And that gave us a good foundation of how they believe the world came into existence, right? You know what? I gotta get the Facebook stream going at the same time. But I'm gonna lay out to you for you guys while I'm doing this, like what I'm actually doing here, okay? So the Mississippians, and again, this is me educating myself about Mississippian culture. This is me experiencing it and learning this along with you guys, right? The three realms are new information for me as well. But I see some themes, right, that obviously are very significant. I think we can draw a lot out of what this culture was saying, like what these people actually believed. We can draw a lot of that out by measuring how people express their beliefs or what the common beliefs among the people really were. And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get the appropriate tags in here so I can really just let loose. But I think the most significant thing about this is that we're able to kind of piece together who these people were, what their belief systems were in a lot of ways, right? It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing to understand their cosmology and how deep their cosmology actually was. So I feel like this is the most respectful thing that I could do is like dig into it. And so the interesting thing that we're getting, let me get the broadcast going. I'm taking too long trying to get my tags in and all stuff. But I want it to be thorough. I want it to be thorough. Okay. So the first interesting component of this cosmology is one what we learned the other day through their creation myth, and this is probably going to be important to this conversation right now. This is an establishing fact about how they saw the world. This is a big part of their cosmology was how they were created, and their creation was water based. So that this is important. Again, the Mississippians, we would take the dominant physical landscape geography of the area and apply that to most cultures. People who lived on volcanoes tend to worship volcano deities, right? People who lived in high mountains tend to worship a mountain deity. So people who live near rivers, we see that becomes a central part of their character because for them, this literally is where life comes from, right? There's not an exception to that rule. They believe that water is actually the source of life. That's not a joke. So when you understand that, that gives you a good understanding of who the people are in a big regard. But the other part of it is it gives us a framework for how they're seeing the universe, how they're explaining the universe themselves. And this idea was that this creation itself is balanced. So there is chaos and there is order that exist together. That's a framework we need to understand as we dig into understanding what these three worlds are. So without that context, we don't understand this part. So now that we understand that in this context, this cosmology of the Mississippians, that chaos and order were not at odds, life and death were not at odds. They existed together in this liminal space. And that's all going to make a little bit more sense when we start talking about these specific realms. So when I talk about these three realms, these three worlds, that we're talking about with the Mississippian people, fundamentally we're talking about predictably the upper realm, the lower realm that we have over here. Lower realms over here, and then we have the middle realm. Guess where we are, right? Like that doesn't take much to say that. So we are the middle realm. But the thing about it is that when we call them three worlds, it's not that these are three. It's not the world is, it's difficult to understand as a concept that the world is not separate places. These are three forces that are all happening at the same time, right? So these forces all together balance out to make where we exist at right now. And it'll make more sense as I get deeper and deeper into it on a couple of levels. And this is what's kind of fascinating about this belief system. That again, I'm just educating myself about the beliefs of the Mississippians. It's just, understanding America, right? That is just, I wanted to understand the mythologies of the people who lived in this land. And this is a great exposure to it. So when we talk about the upper realm, this is not just a metaphor for sky. And that's what we see in a lot of belief systems, that the sky god is often dominant. And we see the symbolism of the dominant world, right? We're used to interpreting